Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. Narcissists? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, and you may be familiar with the ongoing case that involves Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt, who are business partners. In case you're unfamiliar with it, first, some information provided by the BBC. A Utah woman who ran a popular parenting advice YouTube channel is facing child abuse charges after her malnourished son escaped from home, officials said. Franke and her business partner Jodi Hildebrandt were arrested in Utah at the turn of the month. Officials also found Miss Franke's 10-year-old daughter in a malnourished condition at her partner's house. Both women were charged with 6 counts of child abuse. Police say Ms. Franke's 12-year-old son climbed out of the window and ran to a neighbour's house to ask for food and water. The calling party, the neighbour, stated the juvenile appeared to be emaciated and malnourished with open wounds and duct tape around the extremities, according to a statement from the Santa Clara Ivins Public Safety Department. Upon arrival, law enforcement observed the wounds and the malnourishment of the boy to be severe, the department said. The boy had to be taken to the hospital due to his deep lacerations from being tied up with rope and from his malnourishment. Miss Franke's 10-year-old daughter was also taken to the hospital. Officials later obtained a search warrant in connection with the incident, and in total 4 children were taken into the care of Family and Child Services, according to the statement. Washington County officials in Utah then formally charged Ms. Franke and Ms. Hildebrandt. The charges stem from the alleged abuse of 2 children in 3 different ways: physical abuse, malnutrition, and severe emotional harm. Each count carries a prison sentence of up to 10 years and a fine of up to $10,000, Washington County officials said. Although there has been no conviction, they have been charged, which might well suggest that if this is correct, that they have engaged in a range of behaviours which would certainly demonstrate a sense of entitlement to treat another human being, and in particular a child, in that way, a lack of accountability with regard to the welfare of a child, and particularly it being her children, a lack of emotional empathy to treat a child in this fashion, manipulative behaviours in order to cause that to be the case, and therefore raises the possibility, might we be looking at 1 or 2 narcissists, or maybe something else? Ms. Franke, who's aged 41, became YouTube famous in 2015 for her channel called 8 Passengers that discussed parenting of her 6 children. Might it be that the utilization of a YouTube channel was done to give her a platform so that she could assert control over an audience, that she could gain fuel from people's responses to what she was talking about, that she gained a sense of power in telling people about how parenting should be done, that she gained character traits from people's responses to what she had to say, that she obtained residual benefits by way of money being made from the channel, and that it managed a facade in terms of I'm a parenting guru. The channel gained over 2 million subscribers before it was deactivated earlier this year. She's faced backlash in the past for her strict parenting measures described on the channel, including her son claiming he slept on a beanbag for several months as punishment, and Ms. Franke describing withholding meals as another disciplinary measure. If this has been correctly reported, she has admitted to those behaviours, which shows that she believes that it is appropriate and that she can share such information. Again, that would appear to be demonstrative of a reduction or absence of emotional empathy. The beanbag incident actually led some viewers to call local child protective services, though Ms. Frank claimed the incident had been taken out of context. She has also appeared in YouTube videos posted by Ms. Hildebrandt, a counsellor and life coach, on her site Connections Classroom. In one such video posted on the 10th of May 2022, Ms. Frank described herself as Ms. Hildebrandt's sidekick and questioned why so many children were suffering from depression. I never expected my second grader to come home and say so-and-so has anxiety and so-and-so has depression, she said. Something is off. This isn't right. In a second video, entitled Guiding Children to Truth, Ms. Hildebrandt called on mothers to understand that principles are necessary for children to have a calm and peaceful life. According to a report in the Salt Lake Tribune, Ms. Hildebrandt was put on probation for 18 months and nearly lost her license to be a pornography addiction therapist after publicly discussing a patient without his permission. Breach of confidence, lack of boundary recognition. Ms. Frank's eldest daughter, Shari Frank, shared a post on Instagram after her mother's arrest, saying that she and her family are so glad justice is being served, US media reported. We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this, and so glad they finally decided to step up, she reportedly said. This therefore suggests that there has been a pattern of abusive behaviour lasting years. What else do we know about the two of them? Well, Frank, a US mummy blogger who rose to fame on YouTube, has been charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. Her controversial parenting techniques that she showed on this channel, such as withholding lunch, removing bedroom doors, started to prompt backlash from some of her followers. She was a popular family vlogger who lived in Springville, Utah. She shared videos of her family's life from mealtimes to homeschooling on a YouTube channel 8 Passengers. 1 year after sharing the channel, she told a local news station that her page was a way for her just let her heart rate come down and to just enjoy being with the kids as they are right now. She continued, I just want women who are still nursing babies, women who are still trying to get their families, women who are not sleeping through the night, to see what it looks like at the finish line, to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's beautiful, and it's powerful, and it's worth it. It's worth all the effort that families put into their families, she said at the time. Is this an individual that believes that it is appropriate to engage in abusive conduct because ultimately it gets you across the line and then she feels that she's entitled to share it? Ruby's married to Kevin Frank, 44, a former professor at Brigham Young University in Utah. Ruby and Kevin met while attending college in Idaho and married in June 2002. After which Kevin helped Ruby run 8 Passengers. In an interview with Good Morning America, Kevin's attorney Randy Kester described the father as a good person and said he's been distraught over his wife's arrest. He's a very gentle guy, and no one's ever made any allegation that he's ever physically abused those kids or anyone else. He just wants to do what's best for his kids and get them back, get them under his tutelage and his fathership and protect them. Ruby Frank and Kevin Frank have been living separately for the past 18 months, but they're apparently still legally a couple. The videos that she created sparked criticism as a consequence of her harsh parenting styles. In one video, she could be seen telling her sons they would lose the privilege to eat dinner, use of threat, if they continued play fighting. In another, she said that her 6-year-old needed to go hungry after forgetting to take her lunch to school. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch because she's then not going to learn, she says in the video. The turning point came when Rudy's teenage son made a passing comment that he'd been sleeping on a beanbag in a 2020 video after pranking his sibling. In the same video, Ruby alleged that they'd given their son the option to sleep on a pull-out guest bed, an inflatable mattress or somewhere else in the house. The tone in the video is light with many people laughing, but it set off alarm bells for some viewers. In June 2020, concerned viewers contacted local child protection services with an online petition created to encourage a CPS investigation of 8 Passengers. The outrage around her parenting techniques on YouTube continued to mount in 2022. And as the backlash grew, TikTokers and YouTubers even created their own videos about the family, which garnered millions of views and led to older clips from 8 passengers resurfacing. In response to the controversy, Ruby and Kevin said that some accounts had malicious intentions and purposely took the clips out of context. They were purely seeking to throw hate. That was their only objective. A reasonable person would not have seen that video and thought she is a child abuser. Well, we've often seen that, haven't we, with a narcissist immediately claiming that people are throwing hate as their means of maintaining their victim status and the way that they blame shift. And of course, with the suggestion that the son had turned up with lacerations and malnourished, it does tend to support the fact that she may well be a child abuser, and such allegations of "they're just hating on me" sound hollow. What about Jodi Hildebrandt? She's a life coach and the founder of Connections Classroom, an online platform which offers counselling courses. After the 8 passengers site was taken down, Ruby began sharing advice on connections with Jodi. She continued to cause controversy with these videos, including one in which her and Jodi discussed directives that parents should not love their children unconditionally. Jodi was married to a man called Brenton C. Pugh, who's the father of her 2 children. The couple, who married in 1999, reportedly separated in 2012. Frank has 6 children: Shari, Chad, Abby, Julie, Russell and Eve. The children were placed into the custody of the Department of Children and Family Services. They have been placed in the court system, and they were supposed to appear in court in St. George, Utah, on the 8th of September, but the proceeding was delayed owing to technical issues with the virtual hearing. Their attorneys filed a motion requesting an expedited detention hearing for both women on the 14th of September, since it is believed that both of their cases should actually be heard at the same time. They're both accused in connection to the alleged abuse of Frank's 12-year-old son, and the case has yet to be heard. But the information that has been provided, suggesting that there has been child abuse, not only in terms of what has come out as of late, but also the way that the pairing techniques were being described on YouTube, raises the suggestion that this might be a pair of narcissists working in tandem. Accordingly, I'm going to examine detailed evidence about Ruby Frank and Jodi Hildebrandt. I've given you a taster of what this is about and their background, but I'm going to examine the evidence to determine what they are. Is one or more of them a narcissist? Are they something else? Are they normal, narcissistic, perhaps even empaths? Based upon the consideration of this evidence, we're going to make a determination as to what they are, and also to consider whether anything else might be applicable to the way that they have conducted themselves. There's plenty of interesting information about the 2 of them, not only with regard to what they stated in their videos, but also their behaviour outside of those videos, which I'll be sharing with you. So, keep an eye out for the forthcoming videos where I put Ruby Frank and Jodi Hildebrandt under the Tudorscope to make an assessment of whether they are narcissists or not. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.